Wouldn't it be nice for you to not have to carry yourself anymore? Pretty heavy, huh? Try that a different way. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be different? Wouldn't it be a pleasure? Wouldn't life be different if you didn't have to think your way through a day? Aren't you suspicious yet? If not, please be so right now. Aren't you suspicious that you are interfering with something which, if you weren't intruding, would flow naturally, easily, beautifully all by itself? That something is what you call your life. And if you would stop calling it your life, it would flow. But your interference with this easiness, your interference, your wrecking everything, consists of calling it my life, my day, my possessions, my relationships, my future, my ambitions. Far from doing everything possible to dismiss the strain, you're working day and night to keep it going, constantly jumping in, thinking that this is it, and you thought the very same thing, this is it, 10,000 times, right? Now look where you've been taken to. You've been taken to a point where you're going to have to do something different. Instead of eagerness, instead of rushing around, instead of getting excited over something, you're going to have to absolutely refuse to go along with yourself anymore. In spite of all your accusations and blames of other people, you know very well who's the cause of your difficulties, of your strain. You know very well that something is wrong inside of you. And then you call yourself, you make the mistake worse by calling yourself this wrongness, and now you've got another self-deception going and another thrill. Look at how you talk to yourself all day long. Just listen to the statements. Listen to your conversation with yourself. And you'll see ample, overwhelming, horrible evidence of the truth of what I just said. That if you can find yourself to be wrong, that's okay. You love to be wrong. Now you can say, well, maybe I'm wrong now, but tomorrow I'll be right. See, you did it again. Here's wrongness saying it knows how to be right. You struggle in vain. You're thrashing around, caught in the trap, thrashing around trying to get yourself free. And the intelligence that you're now using to set yourself free is far from adequate to it. Here's why. Not only are you caught in the trap, but you are the trap that you are caught in. You and the trap are one. And all these thoughts and emotionalized beliefs and ideas, you're quite sure that the next wrenching away from the trap is going to free you. Or the next one, or the next one, or the next one. you give yourself an opportunity to awaken a certain kind of a dim realization that you won't see now. Give yourself an opportunity to wake up to see that there's nothing you can do, absolutely nothing you can do to set yourself free. There isn't. There is no way. Because there is no one to be set free. There's no hateful person. There's no loving person. There's no agonizing human being. There's no alcoholic. There's no drug user. There's no one-day leader of society. There's no good parent. There's no person who grew up to be a success. There's no criminal. There's no policeman. No good person, no bad person. There is no one there at all. Why don't you stop thinking yourself into existence, which is delusion? I've just told you the way out. I've given you the completely in 10 minutes, from start to finish, exactly what you have to do. A bit about the light, and it becomes a word to you. It's not an experience by any means to you. You come here and you hear about the word light, and then if you're intelligent a little bit, you begin to think, I have the slightest idea of what he's talking about. Light. Well, where does that leave you? That leaves you with the one thing you can understand, which is your darkness. Oh, I tell you. Have you ever been in a tunnel of horrors down at the amusement park? It took maybe 10, 15 minutes. You're in for the ride of horrors for the next 10 years. Scary. But you'll understand it finally. You'll understand it thoroughly. And one thing you'll understand, this happens when you go out the last door and you come out into the sunshine and the little cart slows down again. One thing you understand is that all those monsters leaping out at you in the horror tunnel, all those monsters couldn't have scared you unless you wanted to be scared. May heaven help humanity. It needs it. Do you know why? Humanity takes the ride through the tunnel of horrors as entertainment. We've called it dramatics, which we can call it entertainment for a little bit. It's a pretty expensive ride too, not 25 cents or even $1. It's all the darkness can take from you. With most people, it takes their whole spirit. It takes their possibility. See, you here now have one thing only. You have a possibility. It's up to you to whether you take it. But back to the tunnel of horrors again. The alcoholic wandering around the street, the big businessman who has to have a big tray of liquor. He's not called an alcoholic because he's got a suit on. They're all entertaining themselves with their inner horrors, with their inner fears and anxiety. They are entertained. I am being entertained by being afraid of what's going to happen to me in the future. I have something to think about. More important than that, I am thinking, therefore I exist. Oh, no, you don't. Thinking that you're you does not make you you. Thinking that you have hostility in you, thinking that that hostility makes an identity is untrue. There is nothing you can do to create yourself, either good or bad. I wonder if you see there, therefore, the importance of you studying deliberately, more deeply, the principle that you must come to an end of yourself. How do you do that? Eventually, it happens by you seeing that there is no one to come to an end to. What you have to do is, you expected something else inside the nut house. You're expecting something else from this world. You want to know what real pleasure is? I'll tell you what it is. You're in the big room with all the other lunatics. Some of them over in one corner talking business, making a lot of money. Others are talking over here. They have their sports programs. One of them is going to be a heavyweight champion. Another one's going to be a famous golfer, whatever. Over in another corner, there's some ladies talking about things they're going to do. And you're seated with them. Here there are 200 or 300 lunatics in the room, all excited about tomorrow. And you're seated with them, all around the table. And all of a sudden something happens to you. Something happens to your mind. You don't know what it is, but you faintly realize its source. The source isn't here, and it's nowhere out there in that vast room with all these exciting, jabbering, and hating people. Something happens in your mind, and you feel the impulse to get up, right? You're getting bored. You're getting bored with the lies that you were telling to those other people in order to get what you wanted from them. You're getting tired of the game. Real pleasure is now beginning. Real pleasure, oh, it's so much fun. Real pleasure is now entering into you, in which you have only one aim in life, which is to get out of the nut house, to get out and stay out. You don't want those people anymore. And already you can sense that they don't want you. There's a cleavage. There's a distance already, isn't there? They ask you questions. You didn't contribute anything to the conversation. You didn't contribute your money on this financial project, this social scheme that we're in. What's the matter? Are you falling away? See, you're making the rest of the lunatics insecure by leaving them. The more liars, the better. That's the rule in the nut house. The more liars, the more viciousness, the better. There's no way you can contribute anymore. And you know it. You know you can't go back. You've gone too far. Isn't that nice? You can't go back to the circle of lies. Oh, are you getting excited about something? You know what you're getting excited about? Getting up, walking around, checking the doors, checking the guards. You're going to get out of there. Have you ever had that experience in a small way? To know that you don't belong with those people anymore. You don't belong in that atmosphere anymore. You don't want to be around them. There's nothing in common, truly. The real pleasure of yours is to look around, you see that door, and you go through one. I might as well tell you, there are 10,000 doors to the nut house. You think those lunatics are going to make it easy for you to escape? Just hating you, that's just the start of it. If you begin to be true, you understand. The whole side or inside, you hear all these facts, and indeed they are facts, but because they are not your fact, you get depressed, gloomy, heavy-spirited, because you feel that you cannot attain this liberated condition. Sounds good to you, sounds nice, but then you say, well, so is a beautiful cabin up in the mountaintop, a nice place to live, but I don't own it. I don't have that place to dwell for myself. Sounds great. I'd like to have it, but I don't have it, and I don't see how I'm going to get it. I don't see, for example, how I'm going to be free of my own stubborn insistences of hanging on to my present ways of acting and reacting. Now, this self-conversation that you are having can be summarized as being one of defeat. It can't be done. I don't know how to do it. If there is a way, what is the way? There are so many obstacles. I'm so sad and so heavy-spirited about the prospects. So you're simply talking to yourself in a way, a gloomy, morose way of being defeated. Now you listen to me. If you didn't say it can't be done, who would there be to say it can't be done? If you didn't declare that rescue is impossible, if you didn't say there's no way to change, if you didn't say it, who would there be to say it and to create that attitude? Who? Now look, you are the one who's involved in the statement. If you were not there as the statement maker, where would the idea of defeat exist? Now never mind that you're surrounded by 4 billion other people who say the same thing you do. They have nothing to do with you except that you accept what they say, which is that it is necessary to be hateful, to be defeated. Now if you accept that, that is still your acceptance of what they say. Now let's go over it again, because I know how you're already taking what I'm saying. And I better tell you a little extra thought. Your usual mind that you carried into this room is not at all on your side. The way you think, the way you now think, that is not on your side. It is 100% against you. It has its kingdom. It has its dictatorship inside your mind that it wants to hang on to. So don't think for a minute that you can think here and sit here and be logical and be reasonable and try to understand what you must understand. Because all of you is against you understanding it. What you are is the orator who goes around making these defeatist statements. Therefore, that orator is going to cling to its familiar role, its familiar speeches, and hide itself from you. Hide itself by calling itself a good thing to say, for example. Try it again now. Understand, first of all, that the way you're thinking toward what I'm saying is defeatist, because that is what you are. You and your defeatist statements are a single item. If you can catch a ray of light a little bit about what I'm saying, it will grow to 100% understanding, and the whole delusion will collapse. Your heaviness will collapse. Your gloom will have to vanish, because there's no mechanical repetition of the dictatorial declarations that defeat is necessary and essential to you. Defeat is essential to your survival. Of course it's essential to your survival as a defeated, hateful human being who is apart from reality. Of course. If you didn't angrily, insistently declare that defeat is all there is, if you didn't say that, if you didn't say it, which you are now doing, if you didn't say it, who would say it? And the saying of it is the creating of the defeatist condition. Therefore, if there was no one there to say it, there would be no one there to create it, therefore there would be no defeat. There would be nothing standing in your way of living purely, freely, above the evil orator who likes to talk about the fact to him, it's not a fact in reality, but a fact to him, that there's no way out. See how important, how vital it is for you to see what you say to yourself and then accept what you say as true when it is really false. There can be no defeat without a declaration of defeat from the intellectual you who simply says it because that's all you've ever said. That's all you've ever experienced. The disappearance of the dictatorial and evil orator is exactly the same as the disappearance of the agony and the defeat and the storm. Maybe now you appreciate a bit more how we have over and over again told you to see what you are doing against yourself, to see how you're spending your whole day and your whole life trying to convince yourself that your present ways of living and talking to yourself are correct. There may be, in one or two of you listening to me now, there may be something in one or two of you that is starting to get excited. Spiritual excitement, real excitement. Your hand goes to your forehead like that. What did I just hear? See, it's all mixed up. The storm wants to continue as a storm, and it makes all this thunder and lightning possible to prevent you from getting this bit of heavenly light that it's afraid is going to displace it. The storm increases when it sees the possibility of you escaping from yourself. But there's a pause in you, a slowing down in you that says, what did I hear? Well, I heard that if there was no me there to talk about the persistent defeat that I have, if there was no declarer, orator there to talk about it, where would the defeat exist? I see that the very declaration, the hard and bitter, angry statement about defeat is all there is of defeat and retreat and hiding out. Therefore, if I can stop me, which is the attitude of defeat, same thing. And if I can further see that my identity and the bitterness over this life, this hard life, the identity and the bitterness and hardness and anger and defeat, I can see it's all one single package, then the whole thing is simplified. And I have to see, then I can see what I have to do. All right. Now don't forget what I said a couple minutes ago. Even as you are listening to me right now, all of the old you, the angry you, the defeat-loving you, is trying to prevent you from hearing, receiving, and understanding and act upon what I'm talking about. I want you to know that what you call your friend, fear, agitation, that is so familiar that you call it a friend, that it is not your friend at all. It is doing its best to make you agitated and confused so that you will flip-flop over to its side, go along with it, and repeat again, that sounds good. I want a beautiful cabin in the mountain to rest and walk around and be free of this horrible, noisy world. I want that, but I don't have it. I want it. It sounds great, but I don't have it. And you saying, I don't have it, is what makes you not have it. Because you want to be you, the self-worshiping, angry, bitter complainer. If there was no you to angrily declare it can't be done, where would be the idea it can't be done? Now put all the pieces together. See, first of all, that you are the enemy of your happiness and liberty and eternal life. You are. Now what are you? We can review that a little bit. You think in your delusion that you are your attitudes, your beliefs, your convictions, your thoughts, your habits. That is what you believe you are. That is delusion, believing in delusion. Therefore, what you have to do is see a thought as it appears, tries to pass itself off as you, and then disappears, to be followed by the next thought of gloom and hatred and envy. You think about me. I'm going to be concerned with the fact that there are methods, devices by which I can wake up. So I'm going to defy the whole world, which is really not out there. It's really in here. What you think about me, what's that got to do with anything? It's what I think about you thinking about me, right? That's the problem. So I can reach over. You don't say before the meeting, or you can even do it now if I want to. But I could reach over, and I simply know that my hand is going over there. Now I know you're out there. What is your thoughts about me got to do with anything? I don't care about that. I want to know what I'm doing at the moment I am doing it, right? So I reach over, and remember I said maximum number of impressions. And at the start, when you try an exercise like this, dismiss the world and do what you're supposed to be doing. At the start, you can only get maybe 2 or 3 impressions, ideas, lessons from it. But after a while, the lessons will grow in number. You'll be amazed how many lessons you can get out of the simple act of reaching for a glass And as always, if you can't get the mental or the emotional impressions yet, get the physical. All right, there's the physical. You can see the movement. My hand touches the glass. What happens when it touches the glass? Well, first of all, there are 5 fingers on it. Secondly, it's very cool to the touch, right? So the glass is cool. I reach back, I bring it up, I take a drink, and they're staring. I wish they wouldn't stare at me like that. They're rude people. They stare. You're thinking of this all. They stare. All they do is staring herrings. They stare at me. Never mind that. Never mind what they do. You do it. Don't. You're not going to change the rude world. Of course they're rude. That has nothing to do with it. Don't you use that as an excuse. You take that glass, you take a sip, and it's real cold, and one of the little ice cubes hits against a tooth, and you even hear the ice cube hitting against your tooth, right? See, you're aware physically of all those things. Now, all the time you're aware of them, they're watching you. Ooh, what if I dribble a couple drops of water? They'll think I'm careless and unaware. All right. I am in the middle of the battle, right? You rude people. Well, why do I say you're rude people? You are rude, but why do I bring that up? That's a distraction. See, I don't want to wake up. I want to call you rude and be hateful at you for doing. All these things are coming through all the time. Do you all know how much work we have to do? Just getting a glass of water. And I haven't even put it down yet. So I put it down and I think, well, maybe a little drop did, so I'll casually go like that. Maybe they won't notice that there was a drop, that I spilled a little bit. So I put it down, I hear it go like that. There's a sound, that's a physical part. Glass makes a sound, see, when you put it down like that. And maybe I get a little nervous that it's not in the center of the napkin, and it's a little over, and maybe Mark will be angry at me for getting water on his nice, pretty tabletop. So I put it over in the center. See, as a boy, parents used to say, always do things right. Well, that's not right to have it kind of like that. You're supposed to do things. How many nutty neuroses are going around in us and we don't see them? But it's all, look, and this is all in front of a glaring, staring audience. Now look, please, if you're going to make it easy on yourself, you're never going to learn anything. Anyone can go into an empty lion's cage. Now, still, I better change it a little bit. That's better. If all you that to really be in heaven, that is to live in that nice, pretty cabin in the mountain. To be in heaven means that you don't have to even think about going to heaven. If you think about going to heaven, you will immediately create a new version of hell. You'll change your religion or change your spouse. You will enter heaven. You will be an authentically spiritual man or woman when all striving ceases, including the striving to hang on to your present hell. You're going to find it hard to accept, I know, that you're fighting desperately all day long in favor of retaining you as you are, therefore fighting furiously to retain your misery. Now, this fighting against yourself is what it amounts to. This fighting against yourself is not conscious to you. The freight trains are moving so fast, it's all just a blur. And you can't see and understand a blur. All you can do is look around nervously and anxiously and be bewildered by it. I'm going to end just a minute here, but I want to encourage you, urge you to do this. Start all over right today to do the exercises. Now choose any one you want. The exercises are in any book, not just the exercise booklet that we have. You can go to any one of the booklets or hear any of the cassette tapes and find a method by which you can work on yourself. You can call any one of them an exercise if you wish. For example, seeing that you're thinking about something, about spiritual things, is a good preliminary step, and you're doing that now, I know you are, but thinking about is not the doing. The doing comes when you think about and then see that thinking about is not the doing. Therefore, you drop the thinking about and the doing comes to you because it is above the thought level, is on a higher level, and it comes down to you. Your exercises will become increasingly valuable and practical and effective for you as you make a very simple determination. A very simple determination that in spite of everything, you're going to follow the exercise. Because when you determine to do it, your usual nature rises up and howls and even threatens you with harm. It actually threatens you with harm. You're going to defy the devil. You're going to defy wrongness, and you're going to stand there and let him scream at you all he wants and curse you and call you disloyal and threaten you with hell. Go ahead and defy the devil. You see, any spirit or any human being, which is a spirit inhabiting a human being, that is angry toward you, threatening to you, that is hard to you, when you affect a truth. Now you can take that and you could go on to the experience, or you could be able to compare and see that you've changed one little thing, and then the fact would turn to an experience for you, and you would, then it's become your fact. Now it isn't your fact. You've simply borrowed it from me for a while, just now. I've told you, therefore, that you have failed in the only objective that's worthwhile in life. You're still laying in your little beds, sound asleep, dreaming your life away. You sense that I'm trying to tell you something important. Important. Let's get a stronger word than that. You sense that I'm trying to tell you something that is utterly vital. You sense that I'm trying to tell you something that is the only vital thing in your life. You sense it, but you won't go. You won't follow. You won't obey. You're so in love with your hardness. You're so in love. Listen to this. Maybe, see, it takes shocks, and even then it takes 10,000 of them. You're so in love with being vicious to yourself. See, you have no conscience, so you don't care whether you're vicious to someone else. You are! Your nature is vicious! You people, you listen to me. When you mingle with other people downstairs in this very building, or upstairs right here, when you mingle with them, you're being vicious. You don't understand me. You say that's too strong. You don't know how vicious, how cruel you are by remaining as you are and spreading and radiating that around this room. And around that wife you claim to love, or husband you claim to cherish. Or around your children, whom you care nothing for because you're not able to care for them. You're so desperate for yourself, as if any of you, husbands, wives, parents, children, as if children care for their parents. As if a desperate man or woman like you can have any care for anyone else. You're so wrapped up, all you want to do is talk about yourself. All you want to do is chatter, internally or externally. All you want to do is to go somewhere, do something, chase around. Now let me tell you why that's vicious. It's vicious because you're doing to other people what you're doing to yourself. You don't care if you live in mental slums. You're always crabbing about something. You always have hatred. You are always sneering. You don't care about that, whether you do it to other people. You really don't. You don't care about whatever you do to other people. You don't care because you don't care what you do with yourself. Being lost human beings, you promote that lostness to everyone you know. And it's effortless on your part. That's a negative kind of effortlessness. All you have to do is walk around and be you. See, the other person, even when he's lost himself, here's two lost people. You know what I mean by lost? You're gone. You have no sense at all, not the slightest intelligence about anything. Can't take care of yourself. But when two lost people meet, they are watching, like you meet right here, or you go out in the world, they're watching the other person. And they're delighted. Each person, two lost people are delighted with what they see in the other because it confirms the lie that they're both okay. Well, I'm sure glad I'm not the only angry person in this room, you're saying to yourself. You're always comparing yourself, hopeful that you'll come out a little better, or at least you won't look so bad in your eyes for the next 10 minutes if you can compare yourself and say, well, at least I don't do that. So you, by your very weakness, by your refusal to let the answers take action inside of you, you by your refusal are doing a terrible thing individually to yourself. And I know you don't understand me. Again, I must tell you that. I know you don't see what I'm talking about, because if you saw what I was talking about, you wouldn't want anything more to do with you wanting to lean on everyone you meet. A smile. You want to use them just to blab to. You have no strength at all. You have no direction, no guidance, no intelligence. And so you go around tossing your junk onto everyone you meet. And here, I'll listen to the astonishing thing about what I'm telling you. I have given it to you directly in the last 10 minutes or so. Or given it to you directly. I've told you about it. There's no way you can avoid my words. You're here listening to it. And the acoustics are good. You can hear it way back there. I'm telling you how evil you are, how vicious you are, and it doesn't do any good at all. You still don't want to change. You still want to have the folly of starting every sentence with I, so that you can complain, and so that you can conspire with yourself and with everyone else who's just as sick as you are, so you can conspire to call yourself sane and good and decent and spiritual. And the whole horrible lie is so desperately and cleverly covered up that it's going to take a personal internal earthquake on your part to get you to see even the necessity for changing the kind of a man or a woman you are. This is all that counts. You come into this room with a pure truth being told to you, and you fight and don't know it. And you sneer and don't know it. and you hate and don't know it. Let me tell you, if you fight what you hear in this room, you're loaded with hatred. Hatred is fire, isn't it? Don't you feel it? Of course you feel it. But you love what you feel, which shows you're stupid as well as evil. You are stupid as well as evil, and two go together. All evil is stupidity, by the way. Stupidity which calls itself intelligence, security, the right way to behave. You know, you have to be pretty insane to say hatred serves me. Wouldn't you have to be insane to say that? You think you don't say that? Say it. You don't just say it, you live it. Don't you think that you're any different from your internal declarations? You live what you believe. And since you believe in delusions, that's what you live out everywhere. Now see, let me present the main difficulty that you have. It has to do if you can catch one glimpse of how you are misusing your mind and your feelings, misusing them and calling your badness goodness, one glimpse would be enough to begin to crack the block of ice that is your whole system. Begin to break it down where it begins to melt, where you can see. Go over it once more. Unseen by you, you are saying, my life of self-protective cowardice, and you are a coward. How about that? Let's go on to that. You're a coward. You're afraid of the battle. You won't go out. You hide here and call yourself a general with all your medals, which means you're a liar as well. You have become terribly hardened. Ice, iron, steel. You're not going to have much of a chance, you listening to me, unless you listen a little more, unless you're willing to take what you are hearing and go into this action about it that I'm talking about. And I'll show you how to go into action. Never again, starting right now, never again call yourself anyone. Now, tomorrow, you take a long piece of paper and you sit down all quiet, be by yourself, and you get a long list and number them. Just think. This is creative thinking. This is the right use of your mind, right use of memory of the English language, right use of your experiences. And you get a long list of what you call yourself. Oh, I call myself a horrible ex-wife for what I did to my husband. I call myself a terrible father for how cruel I was to my children. I call myself a petty thief because when I worked at that office, I used to steal stamps from the boss's desk to take home to write my own personal letters with. I call myself a spiritual person. Look, never mind whether negative or positive. Anything you call yourself is a lie. Anything. Take a close look at some of the flattering things. Well, what are your virtues? Ask yourself, what are my virtues? You don't have any. You're lying. Put those lies down. You're calling yourself something that has no existence in reality at all. Get them down. Be prepared for a long, long list taking a long, long time. And that's good. Look, you know what this is? This is called self-investigation. This is called shining a little bit of light, the little bit of light of willingness, onto the dark places inside of you where you begin to understand how you're nothing but a liar and never have been anything but a liar all your life. That's right.